Hey, over here. No, a little to the right. A little up. Up. There you go. Hey guys. So this week we're gonna be. talking about what does it mean to love God with all your soul, and to do that we need to understand what a soul is. The classic understanding of the soul is that it is the principle behind a living thing. It is the difference between non-living and living. And there are different sorts of souls, right? A plant soul is different from an animal soul. Animals have things like desires. They get hungry or tired, etc. And even in high levels of animals, they have somewhat of an intellect, right? Your dog can learn commands, or a monkey can learn sign language. They also have somewhat of creativity in certain animals, right? Like a beaver creates dams, but certain sort of beavers create certain types of dams every time. And animal souls are even different still from human souls, right? We as humans have the power of an intellect that can find the truth, or we have free will that can choose the good. We also have creativity and imagination that is open to beauty. And human souls are the only ones that are made in the image and likeness of God. And we get from Scripture that God is the great I am who am. Which means for us, our soul is the seat of our personhood. It means that you are a soul. You don't just have a soul that gives you the power of reason and free will and creativity. But that you are the soul that has those capacities. So what is it for? What is the destiny or the purpose of the soul? And St. Augustine tells us that the soul is capable and destined for union with God. It can know God, love God, and enjoy God. And this is ultimately the life of the saint. But we know that it's not as easy as that, right? We also have the capacity to refuse God. We can refuse to know God, to love God, and to enjoy God. And this is a refusal of our own destiny. And sin is nothing more than the refusal to participate in the divine life of God. So what do we do about it? How do we participate in the divine life of God? Well, Jesus, who is God, has done a lot of the work for us. God himself comes to earth to invite us into his blessed life. And Jesus himself even goes to the depths of God's forsakenness on the cross for the hope of us living out our destiny. And we are always being called to participate in God's life. And one of the ways we do this is prayer. Prayer is our relationship with God. It is our soul responding to God. It's where I meets the great I am. It's where we begin to become more like him. So this week, go to prayer. And sometimes when we go to prayer, we don't have words to say. And that's okay. I think a lot of the time we're meant to be listening anyways. But we can also use God's own words to talk to God. And even in Scripture, Jesus himself gives us a prayer called the Our Father, which a lot of you probably know. We say it every Sunday in Mass. And even in the Old Testament, there's also the Psalms. And these are prayers written to God. Like Psalm 51, which is a prayer of mercy. Or Psalm 139, which is about the all-knowing and ever-presentness of God. And so this week, go to prayer. And if you find that you don't have words to say, go read Scripture. I'd recommend the Psalms, or say a memorized prayer. And we'll see you next week.